Welcome to One Web Street, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why you should avoid a free website builder for your business website. Now, you'll know if you've seen any articles on the website onewebstreet.com, or if you're on YouTube and you're watching this video, then you'll see that we've got quite a number of different videos, articles and resources talking through your business website, your presence, and how to grow the number and the quality of leads that you get from the online world. Now, I wanted to make this video to point out why you probably don't want to use a free website builder. Now, you might be building your first website, or you might be making a big redesign or a change to your current website that you've got. Now, I've made it quite clear in a lot of different times that your business website is the central hub of your digital presence and how you effectively communicate and ultimately sell to people online. So let's have a look through why we believe at One Web Street that free website builders are not really the best route to take, what you should consider instead, and our opinion on things. So the free website builders, quite the popular ones are your Wix, Weebly, Moonfruit to a certain point. Sometimes you'll see some websites with a tag and there's a Godaddy sticker on there made with Godaddy Builder or whatever it is. And they're kind of funky names, they're good names, but probably not the best thing for your business to showing that you're free. And there's a number of points that I'll make on that. They are kind of easy to use. They are quite user friendly, and their dashboards are, they're quite reasonably intuitive, so you can get to know them quite easily. But a lot of times, even your WordPress.com, which you get a subdomain, so you get mybusiness.wordpress.com to build the website, etc. A lot of times you can't actually monetize the site, and what I mean by that is that if you want to sell any digital services or products, or if you're even a business that sells products, then you're kind of not really gonna be able to do business on those sites. A lot of times it's for brochure type sites, sites that are set up by a business owner as a one-man band, and that's fine. We all start somewhere, but I think that if you're going that route, then it's best to understand what you have. So what resources you have available to you, how that's going to actually impact on your ability to grow your presence online. I'm pretty confident that WordPress.com, Blogger.com, and all those ones that you get a subdomain on, I'm pretty sure that you're not actually allowed to sell. I know you're not allowed to sell products. I think you're not allowed to sell services. So you can have a contact form. And if you then want to sell, or you want any kind of e-commerce part to it, usually you're going to have to pay a monthly fee. And that monthly fee can range from $9 right up to like $50, $60, $100, depending on obviously how much you want to sell, and then how much the company's charging, because they're all different, right? They've all got their little add-on fees. Maybe they charge for credit card fees, transaction fees, etc. So there's all those different things that you need to look at as well. One main thing that I've noticed as well, like you can tell from my accent that I'm a Brit, I'm from the UK, and a lot of these companies, all credit to the US, I love the US, the amount of growth in the internet that the US and the Americas have made is just massive. The thing is though that lots of those free website hosting companies have servers located in either in California on the West Coast, or Central Utah way, Texas, and then sometimes in New York, Chicago on the East Coast. And you don't really know until you sign up, or you're a bit techie and you can go and do a bit of research to see where their servers are located. And there's an important part to that. And there's an important part, the main important part is speed. If you're in the UK or Europe, or even if you're in Australasia, right, Australia and New Zealand, and you've got your website, it's free, you know, or you've paid a couple of dollars a month for your Wix website or whatever it is, and your server's located in the US. Now, are all of your customers located in the US? If they're not, then there's probably going to be a 0.5 up to a 5 or 6 second delay on that web page being loaded. Lately, 2016, 2017, there's been a lot of discussion, talk, research on website speed, loading. We've recently come from the point of your website should really be okay on a mobile device, whether that's an iPhone, a Samsung, or it's on an iPad or another tablet. And it needs to load fast on those as well. Now, let's say your customer is located in Paris in France, and that's where the majority, let's say over 60%, are located, and that's where your business is. But you decide, oh, well, I'm going to go and build a free website because I'm cheap, for one, and two, it's located in California. Now, the amount of time, extra time added to that than if your hosting was located, for example, in London or in Amsterdam or another European city, you know, at a guess, it's probably going to be an extra second. Now, you probably think to yourself, nah, that's just an extra second, Nick, it's all right. You know, things take time to load online, etc. They do, but, you know, if your website's already taken 2.5 seconds to load and there's an extra second on there and that's 3.5 seconds, then that is too long. And you're probably losing quite a bit of business from that. Now, if you're in the position that, well, Nick, I don't really sell on my website, so I'm not really losing out, matey. Well, I'd argue that you are. You know, your website is your central hub. It's there to show your story and share your story and who you are with your potential customers or clients. And whether or not you sell directly on your website, you still need it to load for a prospective user. And if it doesn't load fast enough, people get bored really quickly now. Things are quite fast. If you think to yourself about internet speeds and how in the past 5-10 years they've become dramatically faster, right? I was in Bangkok the other month, and I was in a taxi, and we were going along at about 60-70 miles an hour, and I was getting 30 Mbps on my 4G. So think about that. Think about how far the actual server, the computer that hosts your actual website, because all websites are hosted on a server somewhere, or a group or a cluster of servers. And, you know, think about, well, are they going to wait that time? Potentially not. And then looking at goalposts being changed. So their business is just like you, and they will pivot, you know, and they'll change things, and they might change their CEO or whoever's in charge of their organization. And they might decide, well, on this lower tier, we're going to actually restrict it, or in some cases, sometimes they remove it, or they then think, right, okay, well, we're not making, profit margins aren't high enough, so we're going to introduce, if you're taking credit cards or debit cards on your website, then we're going to introduce an extra percentage charge for each transaction as a way for them to make a little bit more money. Now, that's changing the goalposts from what you originally signed up, but there's not really much you can do about it if you're locked into that environment. And that's also another point. You're locked into that hard shell. You can't really get out of that shell if you're in the likes of Wix, Weebly, etc. Even if you're in somewhere like WordPress.com, yes, they're going to ensure that your backups are there, etc. But if you've got with WordPress.org, well, what I'm mentioning here is WordPress.org, which is the self-hosted version. So you would have domain.com, and that would show as your website would show on that domain name. and you can then host it with whatever hosting company you wanted to. So if you go back to you're based in Paris and 60 or 70% of your customers are based in Paris or around the northern part of France, then it would make sense that you would host your website on with a hosting company fairly close to there. I'm not saying in Paris, because it might be that the hosting companies that have servers in Paris are slower than a California one. So it's understanding that those limitations as well. And it's about the foundations. So it's the foundations of your online presence, because your business website is the hub. It's then understanding that, well, are things going to change? If they are, what's going to happen? And sometimes it might be that they shut down the service or they limit the service. A few different companies have done that. We had the recession back, wow, it's nearly 10 years ago, which it just seems like yesterday to me. And there were a lot of companies that shut down then. The dot-com bubble around the early 2000s, late 1990s, companies there, they just went kaput very, very quickly. So it's also on the point of view that, will these businesses be in business over the next few years when you grow and change as an organization? So it's worth to keep those things in mind. Now, let's take an example that someone gave me the other week. That, okay, Nick, if you've got your website there and I've built it on WordPress.org, etc., what happens if my hosting company goes bust? And then says, right, well, you've got 24 hours, 72 hours to move your website. And my reaction to that would be, well, it's a huge inconvenience. Massively, right? It depends how big your site is. But for example, as soon as you got that email, if it was me, and obviously I'm tech orientated, so it probably would be a little bit quicker. But to give you as an example, probably within the hour, so a maximum time of an hour, could have a new hosting account set up, registered. Everything could be transferred across, i.e. the website, from one computer, server, hosting company computer, to the next. And then you might have depending on how everything's set up, you might have downtime of 12, 18 hours, or downtime of 3 minutes, meaning people won't be able to access your website for that amount of time, which is known as downtime. So that's why we suggest WordPress.org and self-hosting, because the flexibility, and there's loads of other things that I'll go into in a different video. And also, a major point from my point of view is that, when you see people using, when I've seen them using it for years, like bobsplumbing@gmail.com, and you're thinking, okay, why don't you get an email linked to your domain? It's a lot easier, it's not terribly expensive. Why are you using a free Gmail account? And then from my point of view, filters across to, well, why are you using a free builder for your website? One, from my professional opinion, that you should really invest in your business and your online presence. But then also, if you've got a great massive logo there saying, hey, come and build your free website as well, then that's kind of a little bit rude, isn't it? You're asking someone to invest in your business, invest in themselves potentially, and do business with you, but you're not willing actually to invest in the platform that contains your website. So, I've put here, essentially it's saying that you're cheap and you don't believe investing in your business, so why should a potential client or customer? It is also restricted growth. Content management system, which what is WordPress.org, will allow you to transition and change, whereas if you've got a Weebly, a Wix, etc., then there's a potential that inside that restrictive container that you won't be able to then upgrade, change buttons to different colors, change layout quite easily, etc. That might change in the next few years, but at the moment it's not fantastic, it's not great. And drag and drop as well. So Wix, Weebly, Godaddy Builder, I think, lots of all those free ones or cheaper ones, they do have a drag and drop interface. So that's one key thing. You build your own website, etc., which is fine if you're starting out in the first 6 months. But after that, I would say that, well, it's just, you're then just looking at a bloated scenario of your website, which results in a website loading exceptionally slow. Add to that the extra few seconds on server location, and then you are looking at not a great experience for a potential or a current client or customer. And also for the fact that lots of times the templates that people use for those and the ones available are not optimized to convert people. So a user coming to a page or a post or whatever it is on your website, and the sole reason essentially is for a website is to get people to get in contact with you or to share their opinion or their story. Then obviously from that, then that's a lead, and then convert that lead if it's going to be mutually beneficial. So if they work for you and you work for them, okay? But that's restricted and not great if you're using a free website builder, because they're quite bloated and they're not great on conversion. Also, I've linked to a article here from Search Engine Land, and it is a few years old, but it's still concerning that a website needs to be set up correctly, and if a lot of your technical on-page on-site stuff isn't done in regards to search engine optimization, then what you'll find is that you might be ranking at position 1062, but not just that. If you're on first page, then it might not even be optimized for people to then click through, to encourage them to come and read your story, to contact you or read about who you are and who your team is. And essentially that's then why we believe in WordPress so much. I've concentrated on it quite a bit in this video. It's not as simple as Microsoft Word, as some people make out, that, oh yeah, it's as easy in Microsoft Word, just type your words in, upload a photo, press publish, and it's hunky-dory. Well, that's not really true. It isn't a hard system to use, but it isn't super easy either. But then there's lots of tutorials out there that can help you, and literally, thousands of people throughout the world are working on the technical parts of it, noticing and recognizing bugs, potential areas where hackers could get in, and sometimes that's a little bit of a frustration if you're doing the updates yourself, and you're looking after your own website, or one of your team is, because you might get updates every week or a couple of times a month, and you kind of do need to update plugins, theme, the core of the content management system, the program that you're using. But a key part that I've highlighted here is that if you're going with WordPress.org and you're going with a self-hosted website, then you've got a lot more flexibility, and you've just got the ability to move from a different hosting provider if they turn out to be not too great. And you've also got the point of view that it's just more flexible. If you want to add things later on, you can. Some of them do cost, but you can always find reduced price versions or freer versions for whatever you want to do. And that's kind of it. So if you've been looking at Wix, Weebly, Godaddy, I'm sure there's a myriad of other free website builders. On the whole, they are kind of bloated. They're not great. They might be quite user-friendly from your point of view, but there's lots of negative points on them. One for, a main one for reputation, and that you're running a business, so you should really at least spend a little on your business. And if you want to then reach out to us, head over to onewebstreet.com. If you're on YouTube, just click at the bottom in the description on this video, and then you'll be able to go through to the website and read about myself and Nathan, read about how we help people, and if you want to have a chat or a discussion, or even if you want us to help you set up your website, and talk you through things, then we're available to do that. And there's a potential fee that might be involved in that. It would just depend on your story and how busy we are, etc. And that's it. Good luck, and don't forget to visit onewebstreet.com.